It's mailbag time here on the Chiefs Report. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and for submitting your questions with hashtag Chiefs or by super chatting. Let's start with Justin Locklear. We need to use all of our draft picks on defense. Now, yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's not how this thing works. I mean, if you can get a really good player on offense at 30, then do that. These teams follow their draft boards pretty closely, and the Chiefs are in that grouping where they can be picky. They don't have to simply take the best player on the board if they want to get a guy that they think can help in a certain area. So I get what you're saying. The defense is certainly the unit that struggled more this year, but if you can get a guy like Jameson Williams at 30, I'm not going to complain. RJ Kingshart, if Eric Bienemy is gone off Kansas City, they would probably bring Matt Nagy that can't call plays and focus on the offense. It's going to be bad. Well, Nagy wouldn't be the play caller, number one. That would be Eric Bienemy. So I wouldn't freak out too much. Andy Reid trusts him. We don't know if that's going to happen. It could happen as the quarterback's coach, too, because Mike Kafka's gone. So we'll see what happens on the coaching staff side of things. But we don't even know what's going to happen with Bienemy, if he's going to leave for the Saints or not. We don't know who they're going to hire. Me too. If Eric Bienemy is gone, who should replace him? Now, producer Trace, who's our resident Saints fan here at Chat Sports, did mention that Bienemy had an 8-hour interview with the Saints. So seems like it's possible he could go there. I don't know. I'd probably do a video offensive coordinator replacements. It would have been Mike Kafka had he not left for the Giants, but now that he's gone, you'd have to go in a different direction. I wouldn't worry too much because Andy Reid's still going to call the plays, but that's why you subscribe, because we will have an offensive coordinator candidates video if that happens. Rax, prick the 22 Chiefs record. I haven't studied the opponents too closely. How about 13-4, 12-5, something similar again this year. They'll be right there in the mix. They're going to win a bunch of games, and then we'll see come playoff time where they stack up, because that's when the season really starts for the Chiefs at this point. With the current core that they have. So 12-13 wins, and then hopefully you're the 1 or 2 seed in the playoffs. TD Jets, do you think Jarrett McKinnon could maybe at some point in his career be the Chiefs starting running back? Maybe. He was the starter in the playoffs. I think they're going to enter next year with Edwards-Helaire as the starter because they did draft him in the first round, and they'd like to see him work out at a high level. But if the last couple of years tells us anything, one, CEH tends to get banged up, and two, it's kind of a rotation deal. So I'd like to see McKinnon back. He's a free agent. If he is back, I think he'll play a role once again. MDB3000, appreciate the super chat. If Landon Collins is out by Washington football team, would you bring him in for Dirty Dan role? Best year was under Spags and would be cheap. That is true. There is the connection to Spags. I'd be open to it if it's a cheap contract. He has not lived up to the contract he got with Washington, but if he gets cut and you get him for cheap, then yeah, I think he would, definitely be an upgrade over Dirty Dan. Kenny Powers signed Randy Gregory in free agency. It's an interesting name. If you guys don't know, he's the edge rusher for the Cowboys. He's kind of been that number 2 pass rusher opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence. Pretty good year last year. 6 sacks, had 3 forced fumbles and a pick. Played in 12 games, so he missed 5 with an injury. Otherwise, he might have had about a 10-sack season. He's been a nice story. He had some substance abuse issues earlier in his career, primarily marijuana, but now the NFL doesn't care about weed. So, if you can get him in here for $5 million, $6 million, he might cost more. I would definitely have some interest because I think the defensive line is an area that Brett Veach is going to have to focus on. What is your top free agent target for the Kansas City Chiefs? Maybe it's Odell Beckham Jr. Maybe it's Randy Gregory. Maybe it's someone else. Type his name down in the comments. Who would you like to see the Chiefs sign in NFL free agency? More free agent questions from Jose here. Do you think what free agents do you think are possible for us? I don't think the Chiefs are going to go super big game hunting. I think you could see some mid-tier names added, guys in the $8 to $10 million range potentially if they move some money around. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Daniel, how much do you think Honey Badger is worth? That's a really tough question. He's worth a lot, but he's probably not worth, like, the Chiefs can't pay what he's worth, is what I'm saying. He could probably get $15 million somewhere. I don't think the Chiefs are going to pay that. I think they'd pay 10. So that's what's going to have to get worked out. Does Honey Badger want to make top dollar, or does he want to come back and play for the Chiefs? I don't know. I hope he comes back for a discount, but he may not. John Harmon, would you take Drake London or Jamison Williams? If both were available, I would take a chance on Williams, man. London maybe have a better upside, but Williams in this offense, I just think would be dynamite. I think he would be incredible. Tony, should we get Matt Nagy or hard pass? He was not good with Chicago, especially when he was calling plays, but if he's not calling plays, I think he's fine. You have an established quarterback, so I think it's fine. Wouldn't be my top target, but he's a familiar name for Andy Reid. He knows the offense, so, I wouldn't completely dismiss that possibility. Shout out to BetUS for being our sportsbook partner all season long. I have made a ton of money, especially leading up to the Super Bowl during the playoffs. Chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Promo code Chiefs125. That's how you can get signed up at the website. And you can get that deposit bonus of 125% with that promo code. Go bet on the Super Bowl. It shifted back down to 4 points in favor of the Rams. The over-under is at 48.5. I've told you guys all along I like the over in this game. I don't know how I feel about the point spread. I'm still kind of on the fence there. Chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Use promo code Chiefs125. Best part about it is you can bet on random props like how long is the national anthem going to be? Right now it's at 95.5 seconds. Kind of like the over. We'll see what happens. Go bet on it. Chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Alexis Guzman, who do you think is the best draft pick we should sign in the draft? We've mentioned him a couple times, but I would love Jamison Williams. Jordan Davis out of Georgia is another name. There's some corners in this draft that I like, but Derek Stingley, he's not going to fall to 30. But, I think that if you can get a really good receiver or a defensive lineman or a corner, I think that's where I'd be looking. OG Beam. Should we sign Marcus Williams in place of Tyrann Mathieu? Depends on money. I like Marcus Williams. He's a good player. But I also like Tyrann Mathieu. I would take whoever's cheaper, quite honestly. And honestly, it's possible that's Mathieu because Williams is younger. But who knows how the markets will play out. TD Jails, #Chiefs. Could you see the Chiefs signing someone like Chris Godwin or a defensive back like Stephon Gilmore? I do think those could be possibilities. I feel like Godwin's probably going to be a little too expensive, but with the torn ACL, you never know. Gilmore might be a guy who's just taking a cheaper one-year deal. That is something I would be interested in. I don't know how much he'll get. I feel like some team might still throw 12, 13 million at him, but if you can get him for like 8 or 9, then okay, it's a different deal. Super chat from MDB. Why does Spags hate Dorian O'Daniel? Never seems like he got a fair chance. I don't know. Great special teams player. They don't seem to trust him at linebacker, do they? Maybe he doesn't know the scheme well. Maybe he's just not a good instinctive player. He can't be worse than Ben Neiman, though, right? I don't know. I've kind of wondered about that as well. Maybe they just value him as a special teams guy, and that's it. I'm not sure. Make sure you guys subscribe, and that way you can be a part of our next mailbag as we go live on Mondays, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central Time. That's where we answer all of your questions. So subscribe, turn on those notifications, and we will get you guys more Chiefs mailbags here on this channel. TD Jets, could you see the Chiefs signing someone like Chris Godwin? Oh, we already answered this one. Yeah, it's possible, but Godwin's probably too expensive. Monkey Mayhem, should the Chiefs cut Clark and sign Derek Barnett and or Emmanuel Ogbah? Ogbah had a nice year. He did. Barnett's interesting. He gets hurt a lot, so I don't know how I feel about that one. But Ogbah for the right price, I'd be down. I'd be down with that one. Theo Ashford, is Jamal Lewis in Seattle a good Honey Badger replacement? Not as good of a player, but obviously if you lose Honey Badger, you're going to have to replace him with somebody. So I'm not sure what to expect there. I kind of think Honey Badger's gone, though, so we'll monitor that situation. Beach 303, do you think Leighton Vander Esch will be a good fit in Kansas City. I loved LVE his first year with Dallas. He finished strong this year, second half of the season. Could he be your third linebacker behind Willie Gay and Nick Bolton? I mean, you've got Anthony Hitchens under contract. Maybe you cut him to save some money. I don't know. I like LVE. He's not a great player, but he's a good player. You can get him for cheap. I don't know. I don't know if Dallas is going to bring him back or not. Kalen Holt. Would it be wise if the Chiefs draft a blue-collar running back in years to come to expose these two high safety looks we get? So that's a good question. Sorry about the yawns, guys. Jeez. Yeah, so a lot of teams, and you're going to see this next year, they're going to continue to drop 7 or 8 into coverage, and you got to be willing to run the football. That was the mistake Andy Reid made in the AFC title game. They did not run the football when the Bengals were dropping 8 into coverage. So possibly, I think you just need to commit to running the football more and get good offensive line play, and you should be able to rip off 5 yards of carry.